All right, I'm not gonna lie to you. I always kind of hate helping out the players that are in the Saints offensive playbook. But this tip is actually so good. And if there's one thing I dislike more than facing the Saints, it's facing these people that just sit in cover zero and pray. Today's video, I'm going to be breaking down one of the glitchy or audible downs you ought to be using in the Saints offense. So let's go ahead and get into it. What is up, guys? Dan from the Zan Madden YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to be going over a audible down that I recommend for the New Orleans Saints playbook users. Probably the most popular offensive playbook in Madden is the New Orleans Saints because of their tight offset tight end, which boasts obviously your 0-1 trap, also the PA shot seams, Y out halfback swing, and a variety of other money plays that players like to run, such as bench, Saints spot, different types of corner breaks. Got this Saints in, which is a great man-to-man beater. Honestly, it's the most complete tight in the game. However, there's a lot in this playbook that a lot of players tend to overlook. And if you guys are the type of player that does struggle with some of the more popular defensive metas, for instance, the dollar spinner meta, I'm going to give you guys an idea that you guys can utilize here out of the gun tight offset tight end that could be a little bit glitchy against this type of defensive play. So we're going to be running spinner. Obviously, a lot of players know the spinner meta. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to recommend to you guys that you sub in a running back at one of the 3 wide receiver spots. So the cool thing about this is that if you guys really set up your roster correctly, you should have probably a work done item, or maybe you spend your coins on a running back such as Chris Johnson that gets short in elite for 0. This allows you to have players that'll run routes just like wide receivers. So let's start off with that as kind of our breakdown. So when it comes to beating a straight up, man-to-man meta, you should note that generally speaking, you're going to have these guys that can create separation. You'll see that work done will light up on his route and run away from the guy guarding him. So he operates essentially like a wide receiver because of his free short in elite. As you see right here, he beats the Mel Blount item that is very, very popular. So you're not sacrificing a whole heck of a lot with a free short in elite, but you've got a different personnel grouping on the field. One of the things that I really like about the Saints offense is that it does have some decent I form where you have 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and 2 wide receivers. The Z close is typically a milk formation for a lot of players that run the New Orleans Saints offense, as it has some stretches, some blasts, some duo, and then some just little cutesy little plays that you could pass out of. Also has the close flex, which has, some zone-based runs and stretches. And then, of course, the slot flex, which has stretch. It also has a fullback dive. That's nice. But one of the formations nobody seems to talk about out of the New Orleans Saints offense is their single back bunch base. Now, the single back bunch base is a formation that aligns the same in terms of spacing as my favorite offensive formation in the game, which is the single back bunch X nasty, which is only found in the Rams and the Vikings playbook. You guys can find my full breakdown of that offense on my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg, where you unlock everything on the website for $9.95 a month. That includes all of our vault content that we update weekly, all offensive and defensive game plans, Discord access, and lab sessions in our Discord channel every single Wednesday night at 7 p.m. But the interesting thing about the bunch base is that this is actually 2 running back, 1 tight end, 2 receiver personnel. And what we're going to be able to do with this particular formation is we can basically utilize a pass player too that we really like out of it. And I would recommend maybe flanker drive or, really anything you guys want. Saints in has a nice little fade route that you guys can run that gets off a press pretty well. But really, you're going to be able to freestyle out of pretty much anything you want. So we'll just set an audible here. And what we're going to do is we are going to come out in that gun tight meta, but we're going to keep our running back on the field because if there is a look that we want, namely the spinner meta that so many players like to base a line out of, we are going to be able to then audible down into our single back bunch ace. Now let's talk about the first thing here. The first thing here is that when we come out in tight, they have to account for the running back. Most players are probably going to man up the running back with one of the 2 blitzing linebackers. Then they're going to user the other. This is the most popular meta that you typically will face out of spinner. So what we're going to do by using this personnel grouping is we're going to make life on them just a little bit tougher by audibling into the single back bunch base. To do this, you're just going to go one formation to the right and audible into this formation. You'll note that now our tight end in this alignment becomes work done, which was our slot receiver on the left initially. And now our opponent's setup is all screwed up. They're probably going to have to reset their play and then reset up everything that they wanted to do, which is manning up the new uncovered player, probably lurking here on this guy, and then they would have to individually back off their outside corners to make sure they don't get roasted off the line. So that's a lot of work in and of itself. But now here's the part that is really glitchy. Do you guys recall the video that I did last week on manipulating spinner? We showed a setup in which we motioned a player to the outside, which freed up the slot receiver by auto changing the alignments of the safeties and who they were guarding. So let's say, for example, that we're facing someone that is, kind of playing here in this meta, and we know that they are in spinner with this setup right here. The important thing to note is that this safety is on the tight end, which is the point of the bunch. But one of the things about the single back bunch base, as well as its brother formation, the single back bunch ace, possesses that no other bunch formation has, is the ability to motion the inside player outside. So when we do this, what I want you to note is that the defensive play art changes, and that safety that automatically lines up on the second option now reorders to the new second option, which is now Roddy White, which leaves a new number 3. So when you number formations outside to inside, it's 1, 2, 3. In this situation, where Roddy White is number 1, Gronk is number 2, and Dunn is number 3, you actually have it manned up correctly. So what we can then do is set up any type of route combo we want, knowing that they are in this spinner meta. My recommendation is just to put everybody on a route, because they're not going to be able to get to you before you lob this up. And we are just going to motion out, work done, snapping the ball, and knowing that we are lobbing the ball right down central to the tight end against this meta for an easy one play score. So again, from start to finish, what they are effectively having to worry about is setting up against tight, and then when we audible into our new formation, they have to reset, they have to re-man up players, and they have to repress and probably re-back up everybody. It creates a lot of work for such an effective meta. And then all we have to do at the end of the day is do a simple little motion that a lot of players are not going to be prepared for. So we do this motion out. It's going to reorder everything. You snap the ball, you've got a wide open player off the line, which hopefully does something other than alligator arm a wide open rack for a touchdown. But I think you get the gist here in this. And then when you factor in that because of this personnel grouping that we have on the field, we're also creating issues for the dollar formation as a whole. We could go ahead and set up, ISO, we could set up inside zone, we could set up stretch and duo and all these runs out of other heavier run sets. Again, we are not sacrificing our ability to run our primary offense out of tight. Again, because you're going to have some 99 speed running back with short and elite. That's going to do just fine. If it's work done, CJ2K, whoever it is, you're going to be just fine with this. And then we're like, oh, hey, they're in dollar. For whatever reason, I'm not comfortable with this. You go ahead and audible down into maybe your weak eye or your whatever it is that you want to run. And now you're running the ball right down their throat, and they have no answer for you with just a simple personnel change that changes the complete dynamics of the Saints offense. Now, so many players out there love to run the Saints offense and just hop between tight and bunch and the stack formation. This is a layer to the Saints offense that I hardly see anybody utilize out there in the community, and honestly, I don't know why. I think maybe it's the stigma of running the ball together, but honestly, we care about the points that go on the scoreboard here at the Zan Madden channel, not the style points that everyone wants to award or take away based off of what offense or defense you run. So I hope that this video does help those of you out that are looking into the Saints playbook. This is kind of an untapped little Audible meta that I think is very, very useful. I think everybody out there has probably work done. If you guys haven't done the Black History Month program from February, it's real easy. It's real quick. You can finish up his item and get everything you need from him in about 20 minutes or so. And then that'll give you a really fast running back that you can use specifically for this type of role. It can help expand your playbook. Heck, if you're not even a Saints player and you run 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end and 1 running back, but you have some I form in your playbook, this is something I would consider no matter what offense you run. You'll just have to kind of learn how to apply this personnel audible group and then the audible down into your offense and kind of keep them honest. A lot of players really like dollar. They're lost without the loop blitz. They like to go back to dollar, but they're going to really struggle to stop a 2 running back offense with that audible down potential. So maybe you could chase them out into a nickel over or some other defense that they're not nearly as comfortable in and really make their lives a lot tougher. So I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, drop those below in the comments section. Subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff. We'll see you guys later this afternoon, or we'll see you guys next Monday with our next long form video upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.